Hey, everybody, welcome to the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show Series. How's everybody doing today? It's so good to see all your smiley faces. It is Monday at the time of this show. We had a very busy weekend. We were doing some traveling on Sunday up in the Berkshires of Massachusetts. Really, really fantastic. Beautiful. We posted some pictures on our Facebook page at Jim Masters TV. I believe also on Instagram at Jim Masters TV and Twitter as well at Jim Masters TV. Thanks for joining us on JMS Live, the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show Series, where we are bringing back that lost art of conversation with entertainment, levity, lovity, and of course, great, famously, they are really famous. We're talking about our poignantly, beautifully presented conversations. And I say they're beautifully presented because they just happen. They're not scripted. There's no teleprompter. There's no questions that are prepared in advance when we have guests here on the show. We just have a nice conversation, freestyle. That's why everybody says we're bringing back the lost art of conversation, because of the fact that we don't have everything all tightly scripted. We come on the air and we have a good time with all of you. We got a Kindness Matters mug in hand today. Just some nice ginger ale in an afternoon. Sometimes ginger ale, after, a lot of talking. I was on the air all day today with my professional work on a television shoot and then several radio episodes. And then we switched that hat off and put this hat on. And here we are with all of you. How you guys doing? Hope you had a good weekend. Hope you're ready for a busy week of incredible shows. Again, for those of you watching live, those of you who are watching this in the archives, because we record and save every episode of our incredible series, of which there's over 530 plus episodes, I believe, right here on our YouTube channel. Then, you can just watch one show after the other, which I think is absolutely fantastic. Busy weekend. We had some folks filling in. Well, maybe, I don't know, our Halloween show with Doomsday Dude Perfect and Halo. They were sort of filling in for me on Halloween, and I heard they did a bang up job, and maybe we should have those two characters back. What do you think? Did you enjoy having them on the Halloween special? Did you see the Halloween special? All I can say is it was something unique. It was something epic. And a lot of people seem to really like it, just in seeing the views and the comments and all of the after effects. Maybe we'll have those two characters back on a subsequent episode of the Jim Masters Show Live. I mean, that Halloween episode was something that should be at least Emmy Award winning from what I saw and what I heard. Hey, gang. Good to have you with us. I hope your day's going well. Of course, if it isn't going well, this is the place to come for light, love, and levity and everything else that comes with it. We've got an amazing guest that is joining us today live from Rome. Yes, we're taking you to Rome today. Yes, we're going to have pasta. We're going to have classical music, and maybe we'll take you to the Vatican. No. Different Rome, but named after the sister city, of course. We're taking you to Rome, Georgia, because we've got a special guest. We have extraordinary author Beverly Kievman with us, and she's also a photographer as well. Brilliant one. She authored this really special book that we are excited about. Now, this is one of those lifestyle episodes of our show. You know how we say we're an entertainment lifestyle talk show series with variety? This is one of our lifestyle episodes of our show, as we're going to be talking about inspiration and life and getting through life's challenges and so much more. It's your life, isn't it? That's the title of Beverly's new book, which we're very excited about. And she's going to be joining us in just a second. Again, she's an extraordinary entrepreneur, author, photographer, more than 45 years of experience in sales and marketing communications. She's received widespread recognition for her work with businesswomen, both domestically and internationally. She's been a featured speaker at conferences throughout the United States and many countries, including India, New Zealand, Australia, Japan, Canada, Singapore, Malaysia, and so much more. And she's the author of 5 published books on sales and business development, other nonfiction topics as well. And we're very excited about this book that we're talking about today. Her writing has also been featured in 2 of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series too. And her newest book, which just came out this year, is a global version of It's Your Life, Isn't It? For the first time, also, it's available in English, also available as an ebook on Amazon, and an ebook in Spanish as well. She has substantial experience in sales and marketing with her own companies as a consultant as well. And again, as I mentioned, she's a wonderful photographer too. Now, this book that we're talking about is incredible. She's been inspiring people for decades through her work as a glass ceiling shattering entrepreneur. And she asks a lot of questions and she listens to the answers. I love doing that too. She loves helping people find solutions, clarify their values, set goals, and develop plans to make things happen. She's been invited to speak again around the world. Now, It's Your Life, Isn't It? Tells a remarkable story. She lived in Japan for 3 years. A year later, after she conducted a seminar in Tokyo, Japan, a young Japanese woman came up to her and said, "I like the way you think. Would you be interested in writing a book for the Japanese market with our publisher?" Beverly said yes. It took more than a year to work with the Diamond publishers to think through the theme and content. And she wrote it in English as well. And it was published in Japan in 2000. And the title was It's Your Life, Isn't It? And during the recent long months of the global pandemic, she rediscovered the manuscript on her computer and made a commitment to revise it to be really a global book. And her aim was really to reach, help women and men in many countries. The book paints a picture of how to look at your past, analyze your present, and reimagine your future, whatever your age. A way to assess your desires, your strengths, and weaknesses, and put them into a framework that will help you conduct a more fulfilling lifestyle through your life. She openly discusses so much, her successes as well as her mistakes and the lessons learned from those achievements and errors. She says we need to understand and deal with the new normal for our lives. The theme is based on how to manage change, especially when it's outside your control. You see the book right there on the screen. You see Beverly on the screen. We're very excited to have her here on the show. And again, she's joining us live and direct from Rome, Georgia. We see a lot of comments coming in here from our audience. We absolutely love that. We're going to check in with our audience in just a second. Keep those comments coming. Also, don't forget, as we always say, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We would absolutely love that, gang. The YouTube channel is the one you're watching right now, Jim Masters TV. Show it some lovity, subscribe to it, and make sure you click that notification bell. That way there, when you click the notification bell, you'll never miss any episodes because you'll be alerted. We'll send out a notification when we have episodes at special times. Like today is a special time. We usually do the show at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Today we're on a little bit earlier. So if you had subscribed to our YouTube channel, click the notification bell, you would receive an alert so you don't miss it live, because I know a lot of you do like to join us live. Also, click like on this episode. We would love that. That really helps us big time. And leave a comment on the YouTube channel for us as well if you enjoy this episode. Lots of comments coming in here from our lovely audience. But why don't you join me in welcoming to the show live from Rome, Rome, Georgia, just north of beautiful Atlanta. Beverly Copen is with us. Thank you for joining us, Beverly. How are things in Rome?
Beautiful day. It's a beautiful, beautiful day. And I am just delighted to be here with you, Jim.
Oh, it is my pleasure. I love your energy and I love your passion. And just doing my research, not only on the book, but just your background, Beverly. You and I are kindred spirits in so many different ways, and the way we think about life, sort of through a higher consciousness, maybe with an intuitive nature, and maybe high-level empaths as well. Tell us about your desire to want to reach people and inspire people the way you do through all of your work and through these incredible publications, including your latest work.
That's a powerful question. Where to start? I guess the answer to begin with is ever since I was a puppy, a young girl, I always had this philosophy that instead of asking why, I kept asking why not. Yeah. And so I know that I have a very high level threshold for risk. And so the subtitle of the book is called Making a Difference. It all starts with, I've got an idea. And there's so many things, so many people that you will find along the way that will say, you can't do that. Why would you want to do that? And so many ways to pop your bubble. And so it just seems that my passion is in helping people to recognize what's important to them, get
Yes.
motivated to do it, and then to deal with the potholes of life, the ups and downs as they come along, because obviously they will.
Yes. So let's go back. This is really fascinating. Let's go back to Japan. You had this wonderful experience in Japan, and this was a project that had been worked on, a long time ago, or what seems now like a long time ago. And during this global pandemic, it sort of had a rebirth. It came back to life through this discovery, once again, of the manuscript. Tell us first about take us to Japan and some of the experiences that was happening, and uh, what you were experiencing at the time, how it led to being involved in that creation, which then led to what you just did during the pandemic.
Well, part of the book is all about choices and options. And going to Japan with my late husband, he was not my late husband at that point. He had a role at a university, and I really wanted to go to Asia, especially to Japan. And so I said, yes, let's go. Absolutely, let's go. And so he was going, and knowing exactly what he would be doing, I knew I would be invisible. I would be totally invisible. I didn't speak the language. I didn't know the culture. I can tell you how many things I didn't know, but I knew that if I was going to survive in a culture when, in essence, you feel invisible, I was going to have to reinvent myself. And so the way I did that was to become involved, to learn about the culture, to get a few Japanese friends, women and men, and learn, why do they do that? What do you mean? Why do everybody has this misconception of what goes on in Japan at that period of time? And so part of what I created was an idea about presenting what I was learning in Japan in that very first few months, that the American audience the American people didn't realize that the Japan that I was experiencing was not the one that is presented in the American media. And so I created an event with an organization I belong to called the Committee of 200, really terrific, top-notch entrepreneurial women. And we joint ventured. They said, if you can create a program, we'll sponsor it, we'll co-sponsor it. And so we did that with the university where Mel was working. And I worked on that for 18 months by myself, and we wound up having a crew of about 100 people who were working with me. And it turned out to be one of the most extraordinary experiences for anybody who went on that journey, because we showed them a side of Japan that was truly extraordinary.
That's incredible. What has been some of the feedback as you've shown that side of Japan that people weren't privy to, or just is not what is generally presented?
I'm trying to think of a relatively short way to explain. Maybe the last night of the event, a 7-day event, maybe a couple of those comments would begin to show you what I'm talking about. One of the people said, I used to think that Japan was our enemy. And coming here and meeting all of these extraordinary people, I realized that I was wrong. And now I would come back again and again. And things of that nature. A car dealer who was a competitor came to say, I think we could do things together, not just think of the other country, the other place as a competitor. And so it was all about learning. And as we talked about, the listening, the understanding. And there's so many examples that I could tell you that I guess one of the most important is that in Japan, when Americans particularly come over, they absolutely want to interrupt a business meeting and answer the question that hasn't even been finished asking by the Japanese person. And that is the quickest way not to get what you want, because it doesn't work that way. The people in Japan have to get back, think about it, converse with all of their colleagues, and then discuss who, what, where, why, and when. And so the American person who's just coming over with a quick proposal is doomed if they don't understand that a decision cannot be made during that quick, short visit.
The title of the book, tell us about the derivation of the title of the book and what that presents for the reader as well.
The title of the book is based on the fact that in Japan, everything was changing. It was a period of time when lifetime employment was going away. Women wanted to get married later, if at all. And so the whole dynamics of things was changing. And so when I was invited back a year later to present a 3-hour present a program for entrepreneurial people in Tokyo, I was told I had 45 minutes on the program. Well, I got there and there was no one else. I was the only one. And so all of a sudden I had 3 hours. And because I understood the culture, I knew what I could say and sort of get away with it. Because I knew what Japanese people did not like to do in a group. And so I answered those things in advance and told them, here's my credentials. I came here to help you. And what I want you to understand is that I'm going to be telling you about that. Take about 45 minutes. After that, it's up to you to tell me what you want to know. How can I help you? Build a business, do whatever it is. And if you don't want to talk out loud, I have some paper there so you can write down a question and send it in to me. Well, 3 hours later, the class was over. And that's when that young woman came up to me and said, from Diamond Publishing, I like the way you think, but you consider putting some of those ideas that you were talking with us about building a business, about everything that has to do with entrepreneurship. Would you be willing to do a book for us in Japan in English, and we will have it translated and published at Diamond Publisher. And so I was honored. I had been the first person ever to be asked to write a book for the Japanese market. They have a lot of books that have been translated.
Translated, yeah.
But not to create from scratch. And so it was extraordinary honor. And I spent a lot of time back with the asking of questions and listening to answers to think how to move forward with the book. And it came to me as I was writing it that so many people in Japan didn't feel like it was their life, especially the women. So that's why it was the title. It's your life, isn't it? And so,
how does it apply? Even though we're taking this whole scenario is in Japan, this really translates to everyone, every culture, everywhere, right? It may be a Japanese story just in terms of its incubation, but it's something that everybody can learn from, right? And that's very important to you.
Yes,
they do.
Yes. Well, you mentioned that you started something of this show in the middle of 2020, in the middle of COVID. And so that's exactly what happened to me. I found the book on my computer and I started saying, wow, there's so many similarities in what we're doing here, what's happening now, what people everywhere are experiencing. And it was so much about realizing that there are parts of change that are outside of one's control. And there are parts of it that you can control. The question is, it was so similar to how you can manage. So I don't want to tell people how to live. I want them to figure out what they want, be motivated to do it. And part of what I really wanted to do is to give them strategies on how to go about it.
Tell us a little bit about, I mentioned it in the introduction, your wonderful background and as a creative person, as much as you are an author. Tell us about some of those early inspirations and maybe aha moments that you've had in your life that allowed you to foster this energy and this light within you to be able to show people how they can find the light or reignite that light within themselves?
That's a wonderful question. Let me give you a couple of quick examples. The first business I did started when my first son was 6 months old, and it was I was asked by a lady that I was just helping. She said, "Do you want the business? I don't want to do this anymore." And so I said, "Yeah, I'll take it. Why not?" And I gave her $1. And so I changed the name of it to Atlanta Models and Talent. And I had no experience. I graduated college in journalism, but I had no business management, no anything, classes in what to do and how to build a business. But whatever I did, I thought about it logically. And you got to use your intellectual ability to say, now I need to, if I want this to happen, I have to do this, this, and this. So I just kept doing things that seemed right. It has to be right for everyone for it to be right. But within 2 years, it was the largest model and talent agency between New York and Miami. But I still didn't know what was working. And so that I didn't have an aha moment. And so I did get very involved in the film industry and building the marketing when Jimmy Carter was governor. And so again, I was asked by the Department of Industry and Trade. Well, I put together a plan for bringing motion pictures to Georgia, and it became hugely successful. And I did that for a year. But the real key came a few years later when I actually answered an ad in the paper because I didn't know what to do in this next phase of my life. And so it was for a company in New York City based selling business services to top management of companies. And they had 100 men, 100 people selling when I joined the company. It was a 40-year-old company, and I was the third woman. Well, within the first full year, all of a sudden, I was #1 in the country in new sales. And they said, "What are you doing that's different?" I said, I don't know. I've never worked for anyone else before. So they created a job for me. And I went around to all the other people in field and just watched and listened. And I realized it's not that they were doing anything wrong. It's just that I saw things differently. And I began to trust my own feelings and my own ability in order to move forward. So it's a matter of seeing things outside of the box.
Now, you're very open too about the successes and the triumphs, as well as maybe errors and mistakes. And sometimes, a lot of people are very comfortable sharing their successes and their triumphs, and they don't really share what it took to get there, which makes it seem like it's just an overnight situation for them. And the world loves them. The world's always been their oyster, and there's never been any problems, issues, confusion, fear, or anything. But you're very open in an authentic way about sharing errors, mistakes, things that happen, little road bumps along the way, because you learn from those moments, right?
Yes.
Those are teachable moments.
Yes. Those are
Tell us about that.
Well, that's a really important question. And I guess part of it hit me when everything was going really great. And in the book, by the way, at the end of the last chapter I say what worked, what didn't work, and why. So I wanted to make sure that came across very, very clear. And so maybe some of those not so good moments could help somebody else avoid something that I learned how to navigate.
Right.
But I guess the most important part was I realized that I had a way of relating to people, women particularly, in selling. And so I started getting invitations to present seminars all over the United States, Canada, and eventually overseas. And at that point, I realized that all of these programs that I was doing, I was listening to women who were telling me what their problems were, what wasn't working. And I was offering suggestions, solutions, and then we'd practice it, we'll role play and things of that nature. So I was gathering tons of information, and that's how the first book came along. Because Prentice Hall, a big, huge publisher back in the 70s, said, you need to do a book on this because you're doing something that no one else is doing. And to me, that's one of the things that makes what I've learned that I do. I like to do things that other people aren't doing because I think I have a vision of what could be, what might happen. And then I try to find a way to see if it's a viable thing or not. And so I did realize that, and I wanted to capitalize on it. So I started building a big new magical company for business women. And I spent 2 years in research and development. It was going really, really well. When life came along, and my husband, who was a broadcast executive with Cox Broadcasting, was becoming very, very ill with diabetes. And so for the last 3 years of our 10-year marriage, he was losing first one leg and then the second leg, and did not want to live anymore. So I put everything on hold, and my dream went away. My dream went away because it was a moment in time. And so part of what I had to learn how to do is manage things that were no longer in my control and figure out how to get through those kinds of situations, which is, of course, what was happening with COVID. Everything was outside of our control. And so learning how to do that is a critical part of this book.
You know, it's really amazing, the timing of it too, to, you know, sort of look at that manuscript again, especially now during this global pandemic situation and everything that has resulted from it. The timing of this book, I don't think could have been better. It's because a lot of people from all different backgrounds are struggling with, okay, how do we move forward? What is next chapter? All these teachable moments. What is this thing, new normal? And how do I negotiate that? I sort of had things all set up. I was working towards this, and I was going in this direction, and I thought I had all the eggs in the basket and all, you know, the moons lined up, and now all of a sudden the whole rug's been pulled out from underneath me, and now what do I do? There's a lot of people have been saying that. The timing of this book, again, couldn't have been more perfect.
That's my hope. That's my dream. That's why I wanted to do this, because at any age, it's easy to give up.
Yeah.
It's at any age, because what you thought was going to happen can't happen or didn't happen. And then the question is, what do you do next? What is next look like? And part of what I really feel that I can offer and have in writing is, how do I go about looking at what I wanted, looking at my goals, even if you've never done it before, write down the things that are important to you and figure out how you might reinvent the way to do it that is doable under circumstances. There's opportunities everywhere right now. If you're doing something that you know is good, you can do it well, then relook, take a look outside of the box and see what you might be doing better, and where you could do it in a different way from home or from a different platform. Can I tell you one story that I learned a lot from?
Sure.
From a minister in Rome, Georgia. I mean, in Atlanta. I just heard his tape once, and it was called the penalty box. In the game of hockey, if somebody makes a bad thing, makes an error or whatever penalty, he goes into the penalty box. And he's in there for a minute or two or whatever it is. In that period of time, he is out of the game. And the question is that this minister was raising is, so in the game of life, when you're out of the game with something that you did not do, what can you do while you're in the penalty box? And how can you move forward under the circumstances by reinventing what you do, what you think you can do. That's why I got at the idea of making a difference. All begins with, I've got an idea. Let's talk about it.
And that's really important, talking about it, because sometimes people are afraid to talk about it, right? They think there's weakness or vulnerability or shame in sometimes talking about certain things, but talking about it, there's nothing better.
There's nothing better than talking about it and getting perhaps an agreement that if I tell you something that I'm thinking of doing, can I ask that you just listen without telling me anything about why it won't work right now? I will want to know that after a while, but right now, I just want you to help me thinking about what I might be able to do and have you think about it with me. Help me to think it through.
What I think is wonderful too, Beverly, is it's your life, isn't it? It really paints a picture of how to look back at your past, analyze your present, and really reimagine your future. It provides a way to sort of uh, dig in, take time for yourself, which a lot of people have been trying to do during all of this time, and assess your desires, your strengths, and your weaknesses, and to sort of put these into a like a framework that'll help you construct a more fulfilling lifestyle, right?
You've got it. You have got it. Because I think part of what I would encourage is people to, um, I want to say, adopt a mentor. Adopt somebody. Ask somebody that you know, you respect them, you like what the way they think, and say, I got some ideas coming up, and I would like to know if you would be willing to help me think it through. Adopt a mentor program. Because a lot of people, when you ask them for their thoughts and ideas, they feel respected. Because a lot of people don't ask individuals about what they do, what they know, how they can get around. So it's really a great compliment when you ask somebody for their thoughts and their ideas and ask them to help you think through what you're about to move forward with.
Exactly. I know one of the things that you're hoping the book will provide are sort of these thought provoking insights as well as inspiration and tools for analyzing what is truly important to you now. You've lived life already. You can't go back. You cannot rewrite history.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Tomorrow, you can try to prepare and plan for, but you don't want to overdo that either, because if you overdo that and try to perfect tomorrow, you
Mm-hmm.
won't live and recognize and savor and relish in what is happening right now today. And to be able to sort of, have these thought provoking insights as well as that inspiration and those tools for, again, analyzing the things we talk about it a lot on the show, with the light, love, levity, and all, what is truly important to you right here today. At the time of the show, it's a Monday.
Uh-huh.
It's like 60 degrees here and it's sunny.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that alone is a gift. It's a
Mm-hmm.
blessing. The
Mm-hmm.
sun is up. It's sunny. It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
We are here. We are chatting. When you look at things, when you break it out, as opposed to, sometimes we get hung up on so many different things and we don't stop to say, and I think this pandemic situation has put us in a position where we have had the time to think about the things that really matter, the relationships, our satisfaction, the desire to want to impact, empower, and inspire other people. I think sometimes all the periphery, all the superficial, all the got to keep up with that, gotta, check in and all that other stuff gets in the way sometimes of what has always been right there in front of us. That sun that is shining, the ocean tide that continues to come in, loved ones and friends that might be around, things you love to do that maybe you haven't had a chance to express about yourself.
Mhm.
This has been a time to reconnect with those simple things that are with us and around us right here, right now, and maximize that and grow that and celebrate it, right? You are hoping that people don't just use this time or read this book as something just for entertainment value, or just use this time that we're in, which is the only people I say that could have scripted what we've experienced are George Lucas, Rod Serling, Steven Spielberg, or Stephen King. It's been that kind of a situation the last 2 years with
Mhm.
the drama of it all. So it's something where this time is actually a gift. The world has paused, and it's been a gift telling us you are allowed to breathe. You
Mhm.
are allowed to slow down. You
Mhm.
are allowed to take some time for yourself. You
Mhm.
are allowed to change things if you're not happy with the way your life's going.
Mhm.
Here's a moment to change. And if you think that everything has changed around you, the sun is still rising and setting, the ocean is still flowing in, the
Mhm.
birds are chirping, and the squirrels right now are running around for their nuts so they can go in the holes in the winter. All those things are still happening,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they're blessings.
Yeah.
So this is a
This is
terrific as
this is
it's been an
opportunity time. It's
opportunity
an
time.
opportunity time.
Right. So tell us about that. Tell us about why it's important to not let the opportunity is knocking. We always talk about that. When opportunity knocks at the door, you should open the door and partake. This is a big opportunity for a lot of people. And you've seen it, people resigning jobs, people changing what they want to do.
Mhm.
There's a lot that's happening here that the change is monumental, isn't it? And some of it, obviously, we can't, it's not change that we're affecting necessarily. So that's another part of this whole thing, which I know you like to show people is how to deal with change that is change you're not in control of, and that's not change that you're making happen. How to work with the change. Don't resist, don't, work with it and make it your own, right?
That's beautifully said. And I would like to commend you or compliment you on what you're doing with this program, because you are so many of the lifestyle editions that you have that are about the topics that are about somebody's life, opposed to the entertainment value, opposed to the other aspects of what you're doing. But right here, by listening to some of your programs, people can take out a notepad as they're watching and make notes about their own life. I mean, people are commenting. I encourage people to keep a notebook with you all the time, and each day write down 2 or 3 things that you remember from that day. And pretty soon you're going to have something that you can talk about that is a pattern of something that you believe in, that you know that you want to happen. But I'm so convinced that just something as simple as keep taking a little steno notebook around with you, or journal as it's called nowadays, and make notes about what's important to you each day. And a pattern will begin to evolve. But I am a firm believer in lifelong learning. And it's very important. And you can get, there's so many webinars, there's so many things that you can do right now in addition to reading, but the kind where you can get involved in. And if you don't know how to do part of what you're looking to do, then you can learn it online, and then you can begin to learn the steps necessary for a plan. And that's part of what I hope to do with the book. And it's use it as a notebook, as a workbook, and help you to think through the things that are important to you, and think about how you see something, how you see the world. I mean, I wake up each morning, and I look up and get up and I say, wow, thank you. It's going to be a great day. And so it's a matter of how you see things rather than the sadness of all the people around you who are feeling. You got to break out of that mode and begin to feel that that every day is a gift. Every day is a gift, and treat it as such. this is a little example in photography. I like to show people how to capture magical moments when they're taking a picture. And it doesn't have to be from around the world. It can be in your own backyard.
Right.
And using your own smartphone, and how you can see things differently if you just take a walk each day for a few minutes, 15, 20 minutes. My goal is a mile or 2 miles, several times a week. And I always have my smartphone, my iPhone with me. And people say, how can you see all those things? It's because I have a wide periphery of observation. And I think that if people realize they can't just look ahead, they can't look down at where they're walking, they have to look around them and see what's going on around them, and see how light changes everything.
Yes.
See how different it looks at different times of day. And that's the same way how you feel. You feel differently at different times of day. So think about when you're most energized, that you are the most energized, and make your plans, make your meetings. When I moved to Rome after 15, 20 years in Sedona, Arizona, I was moving to giving up a whole community.
It's a beautiful spot, Sedona, isn't it?
It's a beautiful spot, yes. And I always have been very involved in the community, because giving back is something that is very important to me, and making a difference. Of course, it's obvious if you've seen the book. But giving back is something that gives you energy, gives you life. And I encourage people to get involved in something that is meaningful. Donate a little bit of your day or your time with an organization that you might be able to learn from, or it might be a charitable organization. Give a little bit of your time during this time when you have time, and you'll begin to see things that you're good at. You ask questions and you say, I didn't know I knew all that. Why are all these people saying, would you mind taking that on? So it's by getting involved with other people in different organizations. It's not overcommitting yourself. It's just dipping your toe in.
Boy, you're having a lot of aha moments. I hear them. You you have a lot running through your brain. I hear the little ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. Those are your aha moments, right?
Yeah, those are the aha moments. But I love sharing them. I love sharing them.
And levity. I'm big with levity. I'm always looking for ways to connect through levity. I think you really, sometimes when we get all hung up on those things that drive us crazy, if you really think about how minuscule it is in terms of comparison to the grand scheme of life, and the things that really matter most, sometimes, see, I've never been this way, but for some people, it takes a major life event for them to have to step back and say, oh, so that's what it's about. Oh, it's those simple things in life. You know what I mean? It's almost as if they need to have things happen in their life that are dramatic for them to appreciate those simple things and what it's all about, Alfie, and all of that. When sometimes we shouldn't wait for the crisis to happen, the flood to happen, the earthquake or major events to happen, to then roll up our sleeves and say, love thy neighbor, let's connect, let's be all, a community and all of that. We should try to do that even when the sun is shining and the days are great, because it makes life so much more richer, so much more satisfying, and the enjoyment is there in full force. So when those times come, when the flood is headed your way, you'll have that support, that resources, the love, the attention as a group, as a community, as a people, to help each other through, as opposed to when these things happen in our lives, trying to reach out for people and always looking, where did everybody go? And, I think it's important to try to, be empathetic throughout life. Emotional intelligence, we talk a lot about that. That's so important too. And
Mhm.
people are getting in tune with what emotional intelligence is all about,
Mhm.
recognizing, putting yourself sometimes in the shoes of others, understanding their plight, understanding that maybe on the outside they look like they don't have a care in the world, but inside they're probably the most frightened person
Mhm.
in your sphere.
Mhm.
So all of these things are really important, right? It shouldn't take the fire, the flood, the earthquake, or the sad news or major events to be, because I've always seen that. I've never liked that. I don't think I've ever said this on the air. I've never liked when something tragic happens and then all of a sudden
Mhm.
everybody is, one. Everybody's all together and everybody's
Mhm.
one, and we're waving this and we're doing this and everybody loves everybody.
Mhm.
And then a month later, it's back to the same rat race
Mhm.
and the same anger and frustration and
Mhm.
pushing and shoving and nonsense.
Mhm.
It's like, wait a minute, why did it take that one event where it was like the flavor of the month? It was the topic, it was the thing, everybody's doing it,
Mhm.
so everybody's a part of it. And then a month later, everybody forgets what happened, and that feeling and that sense of oneness and helping each other and listening to one another and wanting to make things better. Why does it fade? For me, it doesn't fade. For me, I'm still standing on top of Mount Everest saying, where did everybody go? What happened here? You guys were just all holding hands and,
Mhm.
roasting marshmallows. And all of a sudden you forgot about the flood we just went through.
Mhm.
Um, how's that make you feel? Is that ever irk you a little bit sometimes where, if it's the in thing to be a part of some movement, everybody goes towards that, whatever it is in life, anything, but then they get bored. They're no longer a part of whatever that passion is, helping one another and believing in something. Uh, and everybody just sort of flies the coop.
It just what you're saying is so meaningful. It really, really is so meaningful. I'm just thinking, you're sparking all kind of thoughts in my mind of things that an individual. What can one individual do? And once you have been through something that is a long-term um, caregiving example, I learned a lot about the not letting that happen because people get tired of listening to somebody who's fussing all the time and poor pitiful Patty. And so part of what I make a practice for me to do when somebody's going through something, a difficult time, I use the email or texting or phone call or FaceTime to just say, thinking of you, how is it going today? Just wanted you to know that I'm here for you, 24/7. And letting somebody know on a not everyday basis, but a from time to time basis. And I have a whole list of people in my mind, and I know who they are, and I want to make sure that they're okay. And it's not how are you? They're going to say fine,
Mm-hmm.
but ask somebody, how are you today? Are you having a good day or a not so good day? Tell me about it. and
Right.
and getting a different kind of answer than how are you? I'm fine. And so just reaching out a little bit, a few times a week, to people that might not be having a good day, but you don't know if you don't let somebody know that you're thinking about them and you care about how they are.
Merlin in Canada made an unusual, not really unusual, it's more common than we think, made an observant post or comment during our live show. And she is true about this. And this sort of, I use the word irk. Maybe you know what it does? It irks me in the beginning, and then irk is followed by disappointment.
Oh, okay.
She mentions, I'm sorry to say, but a funeral does that. All of a sudden at a funeral, everybody comes together and there's all of this
Mm-hmm.
love and happiness, and everybody's the best of friends. And we're going to go to lunch, and it's so good to see you again. And oh boy, I've missed you, and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then once
Okay.
the ceremony of it all ends, everybody goes
Mhm.
away and you don't hear from those people again. But during that collective, I'm very communal. So when we are in the movie theater and we are watching the Titanic sink and we hear that music and Celine Dion starts singing My Heart Will Go On and all of that,
Mhm. Mhm.
that feeling of communal experience,
Mhm.
I absolutely love. I love when it's created for me, which is why Christmas Day is one of my favorite days of the year. Family, love,
Mhm.
decorations, food,
Mhm.
gifts, God, every sense, your relatives. I mean, all of it is so heightened and it's so in every area, every sense, smell, taste, visual, feeling, heart. I mean, Christmas Day for me, the way because of the way it's always been presented in our family with all of those things and the love and the music and the whole meaning of it all is tremendous for me. And my least favorite day is the day after Christmas because like with the funerals,
Mhm.
uh, people go back to their rat race and they go back to the pushing and shoving and that's mine and give me that, just go to the supermarket and you have that happen. But you know what I mean? It's an interesting thing because I don't do that. And it doesn't make me better that I don't do that. I just wish that maybe there was a way that people uh, could carry these feelings of these moments when you're at the movie theater watching the Titanic sink and we're all feeling that same emotion, or on Christmas Day or Hanukkah or whatever it may be for the individual, or just getting together with people. If that could carry on, like Christine says, it's so short lived. She feels the same way. I don't understand. I've never, even as a kid, I never understood why how can things go from height to because then it makes the height seem phony. It seems like this that joy and everybody at the holiday time is so sweet and nice and Merry Christmas and all this other, and then by New Year's Day, they're fighting in the streets. I mean, huh? What is that? You know.
Mhm.
I might be throwing a little bit more at you than these might be God questions, but you know what I mean because we're kindred spirits. It's just an unusual thing, and some of the viewers are commenting about that. How these things where um, we are wrapped up in the beauty of life and the joy of
Mhm.
life, and everybody wants to participate in it because it's the thing to do, and then it sort of stops. How do we get that to keep going longer? It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be Norman
Mhm.
Rockwell.
Mhm.
It doesn't have to be a Disney movie.
Mhm.
Yet, still, if we can sort of stop and breathe and maybe take it a little bit further, I think it would be kind of cool, don't you?
I do think it would be really cool, and I think just an idea popping into my head. If it's what can one person do? What can you do? You, a listener, you, a viewer, you, Jim, or me, Beverly. What can we do that would begin some kind of a process for not feeling that way after Christmas Day, or exactly what you were saying? And I think if I'm at a sad moment, or somebody has passed away and people are experiencing great sadness, then I will think about the people, maybe two or three or four, maybe five people that were there that I sort of know, and or that I do know, and that I kind of feel amiss that not having kept in touch with them. And I would make my own plan to just reach out to them um, a few times over the next few days. Just thinking about you. Want to grab a cup of coffee or something of that nature, just to hang out. We can do it on Zoom. We can do it on the phone. We can do it on FaceTime. We can meet at the corner. There's so many ways you can get together during this extraordinary time that doesn't involve a risk factor. But if each person who wants something to continue, then you're going to have to make it happen. And so maybe the make it happen part is part of your internal plan to reach out to others, so that you're building your own circle of people who love hearing from you. And then you'll hear from them back. And you're growing your circle of people that care about you and want to communicate and stay in touch. And so the best way to stay in touch is by saying, how are you today?
Yes, exactly. Beverly, how are you today?
I'm great, Jim. Just fine, thank you.
Fantastic, fantastic. Want to come over for coffee?
You got it. You got it.
All right.
Yes, we can do a FaceTime anytime.
Bring a bundt cake. Does anybody even make those anymore?
No, but we can buy them.
That's it. Well, we can buy them.
Yes.
You know, what's great about the book too, as well, and like I say, humor is very important. I'm an observer of life, and it's obvious that you're an observer of life as well, and of the things that are going on around you, and you feel them deeply, and you incorporate them into your day-to-day living, and sometimes you're inspired by them, and then you turn that inspiration into art, into writing, into photography. You sort of capture moments, capture time, and turn it into inspiration and art collectively through words and through visual medium, like I do as well. So kindred spirits. The concepts that you're laying out, they're really they're easily adaptable, and I guess they've been proven quite successful, right, Beverly, for both women and men in many cultures. I mean, they provide sort of this beautiful blend of easy to understand logic, philosophy, ideas, and most important, action plans. Tell us about some of that.
Oh, excellent, excellent. Because if you go to something like a motivational speaker, or you listen to something on the web or webinar or whatever, you might come away inspired. That's the hope. But to me, unless you're giving somebody a plan and how to do what you're talking about, some kind of a moving forward. How do I move forward? How do I make a follow-up plan? If you don't teach them or offer them ways to get it done, then you've created a highly motivated failure, because they're not going to want to do it again and be hurt because nothing happened because I don't know what to do.
Right.
So the I don't know what to do part is a huge part of why I wrote this book. A huge part, because I have lived a gazillion years, and I know the things that don't work for me, and I know the things that do work for me. But I also know the things that have worked for a lot of people. And so there are a lot of other people whose stories I have included, of things that they were up against enormous odds, and they made something happen because they didn't give up. They found a plan. They started making a plan. One woman that's in the book, she had never worked outside of the home. She managed the home, the kids, and everything. Her husband had a nice business, and one day he died. And she said, well, I'm going to come in and run the business. And her employee said, how can you run the business? You've never been in business. She said, because I'm the goal setter for my entire family and everything they do. And if I can do that for my family, then I can do that for every person in this organization. And this is a true story. And that's what she did. And she made everybody from the janitor all the way up to the people in charge, be responsible for their own goals and their own plan, how they were going to make things happen. And her business actually turned out to be recognized and won awards for what the accomplishment that she did. And all because she said, I know how to do that. Therefore, I can translate that into this, the bigger picture. So the key here, and one of those aha moments, is recognize something you're good at.
Yes.
That you enjoy, you're good at, and people say, how did you do that? And that's when you finally figure out what it is that you do well. People say, I didn't see that. How did you do that?
Yes.
So those are the aha moments when you realize, I think maybe I am learning how to do something well and I didn't recognize it. And I think that's what's happening to me during the transition of learning all the things that were going on with women in sales. And I said, aha, I must be doing it differently. I need to show these women how they can make it better.
Absolutely.
So
Beautifully
that's an
said.
aha. That's an aha moment.
That's an aha moment for sure. Absolutely. You have the book there with you. Do you want to share anything from the book to give people a sense, a little bit more of a deeper sense of the book? Any
Let me
passage
show
or
you this
area?
because it's so funny. This is the Japanese book, okay? So they can really see that this is, in fact, it's your life, isn't it? And that's so that was what started it a long, long time ago. I actually picked out something. Just a second. This is from my epilogue, and when I was approaching 80, I'm currently 83. Well,
No
I'm
way.
83 and 11/12. I will be 84 in this month, but I feel like I'm still easily 70.
I
Okay.
would have said 45, but
So in the book, this would tell when I was approaching 80, I decided to write a letter to my grandchildren. I was deeply pondering how to explain to each of them what I feel is most important and how it just might help them navigate peaks and valleys throughout their lives. I called it If I Had a Magic Wand. And if I had a magic wand, it would be that you, dear reader, will follow your passions in life, whatever they may be, and to plant a few seeds along the way that will make a difference to others. We need to offer to help those who are open to change. And when you do, when you have a difficult choice to make, I offer this well-known serenity prayer written by American theologian Reinhold Niebuhr that my sweetheart Ken explained to me. Dear God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. So I sent that. And I guess one other thing, if it's okay, I'd like to share this with you.
absolutely. Yes.
It's
Yeah.
something that I wrote after Michael Kievman died, after 3 years of a really, really bad time. It's called The Power of Choice. Regardless of your position in life, your circumstances, or the challenges you're faced with every day, you and I have the most important freedoms in the world. We can see, feel, say, study, write, think, or be anything we choose. It's ours for the taking. Every day, in every situation, you and I have choices and options. We can choose to be negative, or we can choose to be positive. We can choose to be angry, or we can choose to be peaceful. We can choose to be resentful, or we can choose to be grateful. We can lash out and say, why me? Or we can reach out and help someone else. We must separate things that are within our control from those not in our control. We need to let go of the ones not in our control and take action on the ones that are. The power of choice is in your attitude. Life is too short, precarious, and fragile. Your attitude is the one ingredient that will turn around your day, your week, and your life. That is your choice, yours alone.
So very, very true. So very, very true. What was the writing process like for you, Beverly? How did you know how to lay it all out and the various, the flow of the book and what should come first? And how did you know when to end the book? Sometimes one of the two hardest things is putting the first words down on paper and get it going, and then knowing when to cap it, when to say, I'm good with it. There might be rewrites and you're perfecting it a little bit, but just being comfortable enough to say, this book is saying what I needed to say. I'm good with that. If I need to do a follow-up or another, I'll look at that down the line.
Yeah.
But I'm good with this. It's going to resonate in the way that I hope it does for people. Tell us about the writing process for you.
Okay. Okay, I got a great example for you. When Michael was so ill, I kept a private notebook. I talked about journaling, and so I made notes in my private notebook of all the bad things that I was thinking, all the things I was saying. I never want anybody to see or anyone to hear. And so one day, I started to try and write a book called The Joy of the Journey. And the joy of the journey was that you can become successful if you can, if you believe you are. But along the way are potholes and things of that nature that impact your dream, your wish. And I couldn't make it happen. I couldn't write. I had writer's block. And so I reached out to a wonderful friend of mine in New York City called Carol Hyatt, who had written quite a few successful books. I mean, when I say successful, advances of $25,000 and such. And I said, Carol, I'm having a problem with this, and I don't know how to move forward. And she said, and this is her voice, Beverly, the reason you can't move forward with this book is because you're in the middle of it. But if you write about how you're dealing with what's happening to you, you have a book. And so I put down the joy of the journey, and I started looking at my private notebook and all the things I never wanted anyone to ever hear that I thought, I want to run away, whatever. And I sat down, and within 2 weeks, I had outlined the entire book, written 2 sample chapters, sent it off to Carol for her opinion. She mentioned it to her book agent, and within 30 days, I had a contract to write the book. It just poured out of me. It's something I was living and something that could help others. And it was called For Better or For Worse, a couple's guide to dealing with chronic illness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so that's still 30 years later, it's still available on Amazon as used copies. And so many people are going through bad times. So that makes me very happy that that's still available. But that's how I started. It's got to be something you do or you believe in. It can't just be a story, a fictional book that you think is a good book. You have to live it. You have to have a story. And once you have the story, then it just falls out of you. Every book has just fallen out of me because I was living it.
And you've published, is it 5 now?
Yes.
Yeah, mm-hmm. I think this was said in the beginning. That's amazing. That's no easy feat. And it's exciting for you, isn't it? You have this book here and it's your life, isn't it? And congratulations on that. But you've probably got ideas for another one and another one. Right?
Oh, well, I think, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, one of the things that I love doing is combining my photography.
Yes, tell us about that. That's a whole other aspect of you. Yeah.
Yes, I love it. And I really learned about photography in Japan. Not that I had a point and shoot camera. So it's not that I learned about the physicality of photography. I learned the things that were passionate for me and how I see the world. And I was so interested in how people live, how people work, and how people play. And so passion, the culture became my passion. And so I wanted to write a book about that. When I got back, and a wonderful person that I knew, I had an exhibit of those 4 things that I had done for a middle school, and she came to visit from Ecuador, and she looked at those poster boards with my photographs on each poster board, saying how people live, how people work, how people play, etc. And she just sat there and said, okay, Beverly, here's what we're going to do. I want you to write the book with those themes. And I'm going to try, I will get it published, translated into Spanish, and I will have the Minister of Education approve it. And then we'll get it distributed to the children in Ecuador who have a chance you can impact their thinking, their thought process. Whereas the people at my university, they're grown, they're not going to change. But if we could reach the young people in our country, that's what we're going to do. And so that's how that book fell out of me. And it's called Your Eyes Are Your Windows to the World. And it is a combination of a lesson plan and stories about young people who are only see what they say through their yard, through their wherever they live in the world. And I want them to see the rest of the world and know how to manage it. And so much of that is in this book as well.
It's a very important message, Beverly, for people, not just, the younger set to hear, but everybody, because we are living in a time, no matter what a position is or side of the fence or tracks or any of that stuff, where people are just surrounding themselves with the things that reinforce just what they want to hear,
Mm-hmm.
just what they want to feel, just what they want to believe, regardless of who, what, when, where, how. Just you can erase all that. Just in general, people are sort of going in these directions where I don't want to know anything about what you have to say because it's not agreeing with what I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking or
Mm-hmm.
saying.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't make the world spin on its axis smoothly. We all have something to say. We all have something to give. We all have something to share. Because if people didn't, nothing would exist. There would be no inventions. There would be no entrepreneurship. Nobody would have created anything, because you might be the architect that designs the building, but you need a crew and you need other people and investors. And then you got to get the supplies and deal with those people. It takes all of us together to make this work smoothly, regardless of what zip code you're in. I say that all the time with this show. Everybody's welcome, regardless of their height, weight, eye color, gender, zip code, political views, religious views, if any, how much money you have in the bank. None of that matters. We're here to connect and have a good time and learn and be entertained as well. And so, we're in a time where that's not necessarily what's being stressed. It's you go in your camp, I'm staying in my camp, and that's it. And there's a wall between, almost like the Berlin Wall has gone back up somehow globally. And that's not healthy. So these messages that you have transcend all of that. And they're very important messages for people to hear. You're not talking at them. You're not saying, well, you must or this. You're saying, from your own experiences, try this. Here's how it might make life more pleasurable and a little bit easier and more fulfilling if you try some of these things, right?
That's why it's your life, isn't it? It's your choice of what you accept and what you choose to not accept, and that's okay. And so, how the Spanish book came about was this same wonderful lady. After I finished the first redo of my book of It's Your Life, Isn't It? I had to get some feedback because it had become a global book rather than a book geared toward Japanese audiences. And so nobody'd seen it but me. It'd never been published in English. And so I sent it to a few friends that I hoped would give me some honest feedback, which they did. But I also sent it to the same lady from Ecuador, Dr. Sonia Roca. And she has a university. She's chancellor, and we're friends. And so for 30 years. So I sent it to her as well. And a week later, she sent me an email saying, Beverly, I love your book. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to translate it into Spanish. We're going to have it distributed, published by my university. And that's what just came out 3 weeks ago.
Wow.
Yeah. So things fall into my lap.
Well, with this manuscript, sort of the resurrection of it and now having it, published in the way that it is, available in English, Spanish, ebook, things of that nature. Was the manuscript calling your name for a while, or where it was something you were thinking about it, thinking about it for a long time,
Mhm.
and then felt this was with this, what you just described in conjunction with the timing of what's going on in our world lined up beautifully, where you said, this
This is
is the
it. This is
time. I
it.
was thinking about it before,
Mhm.
but this is it.
This
Did it
is the
happen
way to
that
do it. Yeah,
I was
this
gonna
is
say,
the
did it
way to
happen
do it.
that way,
Yeah,
or was it just out of the blue? Was it something that was always there in the back burner for
yeah,
you?
yeah,
And
yeah,
then all
yeah,
this lined up
yeah.
beautifully.
Because the letter that I wrote to the grandkids was 2 or 3 years ago. And
Yeah.
these were the same values that I was talking about in my book. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it was percolating all of that time.
And then this was that time where you said, you know what, this could really help people. I mean, it could help people in the best of times, but especially right now, people can use some comfort, some solace, some ideas of what to do, how to do it, and to savor those teachable moments. What has Beverly learned about Beverly during all of this time, the last 2 years or so, during the pandemic and everything else, besides baking bread and cleaning all those closets? what what else did you learn about yourself during this time?
That I love helping others. I love helping others reach their goal, or to even think about reaching a goal, or to make people that are in my life realize their own strengths and how to make them better, how to make their life, and how and the importance of reaching out to others, even if it's just to see a lady sitting on a bench as you're walking and saying, how are you doing today? You really look lovely in that color. It just makes their day. There's so many little things every day that I want to encourage people to think about doing that doesn't cost anything. It's kindness. It's like your cup says, that you showed me at the very beginning.
Kindness matters.
How funny of me to remember that. It's just doing little kind things every day when you see it.
Yes, right, exactly, and not have to do it in hopes that something will happen in return, and or so then you can post on social media that you were kind to somebody else.
Mhm.
Sometimes a lot of people do things for the glory of doing it, as opposed to just doing it out of the kindness of your heart.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that's a whole other thing too. How has social media changed us and come into play here a little bit? You know, it's wonderfully connecting, and there's way we could reach people in ways we couldn't before, but there is a superficiality to some of it as well, a
Mhm.
competitiveness. Oh, my life is ideal and perfect. Look at me, which isn't really real and or too healthy, right?
Not at all. No, you're absolutely right. And there's got to be a tiny little bit of just glancing at something and see if it's a message from somebody who's reaching out and needs some help. And I spend very little time on it, but it has kept me in touch with people that I know and care about and love in all over the United States and many parts of the world. And so, without that, and using it in the very best way, you can stay connected and to ask those little questions of how are you today, um, and get an answer. Tell me what's going on. I want to know. And so there are many ways you can reach out to someone else without having to physically be there.
The theme of the book too, which I said at the outset, is really based on how to manage change.
Mm-hmm.
And there's change that you can create, be the change. There's change that happens that you have no control of and you didn't initiate, but
Mm-hmm.
it's how we manage change, because change is a constant. Change
Change
is
is a constant.
change.
Yes,
Change is a
change is a
constant.
constant. Yes.
So throughout your lifelong career as an entrepreneur, Beverly, as well as the seminars that you've given and continue to give and that you've attended, countless ones that you've conducted in many parts of the world, like I said in the introduction, you truly believe that you have a broad perspective, right? You openly discuss like I said, the successes as well as the failures, the
Hmm.
lessons learned from achievement as well as the errors. And
Hmm.
many of the life stories come from those programs as well as the friendships that you've been blessed with over the decades. Tell us about that. I like that deep breath. That's a good, this is a nice breathe from the diaphragm. It's going to be a great, deep,
Yeah.
rich answer.
Yeah. I have said to many of my friends who were sounding stressed, take a pause and just think about what you want to say next. Maybe listen to what somebody else says. So um, I guess um, the, the the essence of what I am learning from people that I have really listened to in seminars. I mean, the real people that I'm trying to help have helped me to realize what is possible for me and what is not possible for me. If it is not possible for me, then I make that decision, like in The Power of Choice. I make that decision. So I think knowing what you can do, or knowing what you want to do, and knowing what you cannot do right now is a key point, because it doesn't mean you have to shelve everything. It just means you might have to find um, a different way to present it. And maybe it's not today, maybe it's tomorrow.
Right. Right. Yes. Maybe be patient, right? Because we live in a
Yes.
very
Yes.
impatient world where
Yes.
everybody wants things to happen now. And if they don't
Yes.
happen now, I'm losing out, I'm missing out. But it's
Mhm.
important to really take time, right? And let things breathe, because maybe sometimes the thing you thought was going to be what you wanted
Mhm.
doesn't turn out to really be the thing that you wanted. It's that other thing that maybe you were sort of thinking about but pushed to the side is the thing that really speaks to your heart, right?
Yes, but you've got to be open and listening so you will know
Yes.
what that other thing is.
Right. Exactly. Pay
Yeah.
attention to the cues and the clues that
Yes.
are there.
Yes.
Um,
And reach out for help. Reach out for help.
yes,
Absolutely. Reach out for help when you need it for the littlest of things.
exactly. 110%. That's so essential. What would you say to somebody who's watching this live right now on the Jim Master Show live? And we welcome everybody who's watching from around the world, or somebody who's going to watch this later in the archives on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. And they are being moved by what we're talking about, and they're really toying with the idea of absorbing some of these things into their life. What would you say to somebody right now who's on the fence, or somebody who might even be struggling with something right now and they're very confused and they don't know how to handle all this change that has been happening? Their change makes them fearful.
That's that that is something that I can maybe identify by just looking at my own table of contents,
I like that. Yeah.
because in part one it's all about choices and options and analyzing what's going on around you with the changes in the world, understanding and taking risk, recognizing and refocusing your own goals and your priorities and making a difference. But from there on, part two is how you feel about success. What is success to you? Is it a little something by helping someone else, or is it monumental? And part of it is understanding, um, separating who you are from what you do. You might be
Yes.
a wonderful business person, but not so great a parent. And so, if you separate things from who you are from what you do, then you can improve upon the things. Because I have a way to do that in the book. You can decide what you want to be better at, and make a plan. So part three is all about putting it all together. It's selling yourself your ideas, lifelong learning, when you want your own business, turning life struggles into profitable, charitable, and other fun things. What worked, what didn't work, and why, and things of that life. So it's just, you could write in the book the whole time and decide what it is that's doable. Little baby steps. Take little baby steps. Just all start with a little baby step, and then take another step.
I like the way your voice elevated and changed when you said, and do fun things, really emphasizing that that's very important,
Yes, yes.
right?
That's very important. I love that you wanted to have fun and frivolity in your show. I laugh at myself, all day
Oh,
long.
oh, that's another thing that we all have to do. You have to, laugh at yourself.
Hmm.
It's a funny thing because some of the things that we say and do, we're like, wait a minute, I just did that. I just said that. How did I, you know what I mean? And you can really entertain yourself, can't you?
Invited where I live here. We had a fashion show with all the residents here. It's a wonderful place called the Spires of Berry College. At Berry College, it's just wonderful. It's just beautiful. But we were doing a fashion show in the big room for all the residents. And I figured, okay, I'm going to be one of the models. They invited me to be a model, and so they
Well,
know
of course.
they know I'm a photographer. So I had my phone, my smartphone, when I went up on the stage, and I wore a beautiful raincoat. So I had an umbrella, and I took my phone, and so I stopped right in the middle of it to take a picture of the audience, thinking that would be kind of cool. Everybody's taking pictures of us, and it wouldn't. I couldn't get it to work, so I started laughing out loud. I said, "My phone isn't working." And so you gotta laugh at yourself.
So you applied some of your own teachable lessons
Yeah.
and you dealt with change.
Yeah.
The phone wasn't working. That was unplanned change.
Yeah. But laughing at yourself is a great thing to do.
Yes, yes. You can really be
I mean,
tickled.
without that, you can't be silly.
Right.
Silly is good.
Silly is good. Right. I say it often. Sometimes you need to be silly. We're all I say I'm nothing but a big child in adult clothing.
I love it.
And don't let the kid inside you ever, go away.
Yeah.
Very important.
Yeah.
And like I say, you got to have levity, empathy, all of these things that, really matter because you can really inspire people. But as we inspire, we're inspired too, right? You're inspired when
Mhm.
people read the books, when they see the photography, when they do all of these different things, they're moved. And I bet you get comments from people that move you deeply.
Yes, I do. And I love that. But I want to tell you what a wonderful job I think you're doing on this show, and how you invite people to really think about things that are important, not just, as you said, not scripted and not hear the questions I'm going to ask you. You do a beautiful job, and you have to be very confident in yourself to be able to do that kind of show. And so I applaud you. I think you're doing a wonderful job.
I appreciate that. That's beautiful words. And as I've said often on this show, my father has always said, whenever anybody says something kind or nice to you, please ask them to put it in writing and address it management. Ding. We got a ding for that. I heard the ding on your side. Ding. You either have lots of texts or emails to respond to, because I think people are watching you right now, and they're probably, that's what all the dings are. People are saying, I'm watching. Oh, I love that. And
Wow.
which is a beautiful thing, right?
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. Yes.
What are some of the other things that are blessings and joys in your life, Beverly, that inspire you? You mentioned, your age a little bit earlier, and age is really just a number. But a full life, a rich life, all these experiences, the ups and the downs, you have the wit and the wisdom. And you could easily be in Florida with your feet in the sand and a banana colada in your left hand and just laying in a chaise lounge. Instead, you still want to connect and inspire and communicate, story tell through your art and through your words. Where does that come from for you, Beverly? And what are some of those continued blessings and joys in your life that help foster that within you?
Mm. Mm. That's a real conversation stopper.
You felt that one, didn't you?
Got it.
That was a deep one.
Yeah. I love watching other people make a difference, and make a difference in so many little ways. I guess I have a blended family, because obviously I have been married, more than many. And so I have a wonderful blended family, and I love being with my family and then communicating by all the normal means: text, phone, FaceTime, and my beloved friends from Sedona and from many other places. They give me energy. They give me energy because they while I'm always asking questions, they always get around to, so what is going on now with you, Beverly? And so there's a genuine interest, a two-way love that you can't replace. But I guess one of the cutest things is I discovered that I have a great grandson, and he lives nowhere near me. He's 5 now, and I was thinking about that, and I read something in a local paper of how during the World War II, a young a young girl in a class was asked to write a letter to an Army person over serving in military. And this was a story called Inspire Atlanta, of how that serviceman kept that letter with him the whole time he was in the Army. And he said, one day I'm going to find that young woman to thank her. And so that inspired me to say, what can I do to reach out to my grandson, whom I almost see never, except for maybe for 20 minutes at a family gathering. He's going to grow up without me, and I'm going to grow up without him. And so I decided he was going to become a pen pal. And so I wrote him a letter, and I explained my relationship and had pictures of me with him and who the family was, and he knows all of them. I said, and I live a long way from you, but I want to know you better. And so here's some of the things I want to know. And I included a few things in my envelope, and I included a self-addressed stamped envelope back to me.
I like that.
And I sent it, and a week later or so, I got a reply. I was over the top in excitement. He replied to me. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
I can't tell you how exciting that was. And he said, well, Grandma, I love you so, and I can't wait to see you in over Christmas. Are you coming? Please come. And so the cute thing was his mom, who of course has to help him a little bit with writing the letter, she said, he's been watching the mail and going through all the mail and it comes every day to see if he has another letter from you. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How exciting that is. That rings my bell. Is doing something that you never thought of before.
Mm-hmm.
And how can you connect with somebody you love and let them know that?
Yes.
And keep reminding them of that.
And keep reminding them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So,
I did that in college too. I used to write to my aunts and uncles and other relatives in college, just letting them know how I'm doing and what I'm studying and what's happening. And I have a whole box of these letters where my aunt would, their aunts would write back. And now I pull those out, and they're beautiful. It's like a treasure trove of levity, as we talk about here on the show. When you look back at something like that, and it's just taking those moments to do little gestures can really go a long way, because you never know what somebody's feeling or what's going on in their world, right?
Mm-hmm. That's why I think it's so important to reach out to others, even if it's just with a note thinking of you.
Mm-hmm.
I want an update. Send me stuff. So I don't forget that, and I do that on a regular basis. Not enough to be annoying, I hope, but enough to make them know that I really care.
Which is absolutely beautiful. The prologue and first and second chapters are really based on your own personal life and dramatic challenges. And the remainder of the book focuses on lessons learned from a multitude of other people, many of whom you've known personally. And you say hopefully in its entirety, the message of the book will be clear and help one understand how to focus on the priorities in your own life
Mhm.
in this changing new world, right?
That's exactly right. They're baby steps, but you got to write them down. You've got to start writing. I'll show you how. You can use that my plan, or you can use another plan, but it can be so simple. What is it you love about what you're doing? What is it you would like to change? Make notes. Keep a little journal. It's only for you.
Yes, right. Uh, did you keep journals as a young girl too? Did you always keep journals yourself, Beverly?
I guess so. I guess so, because I found things when I went overseas and I wrote everything along the way. And that's one reason I guess I wanted to major in journalism,
Yeah.
because something was calling me. I knew I loved to write, and I knew that people like to read what I wrote.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And you like to capture it as well in photo form too, right? You've
Yes,
been doing that in award-winning ways for years.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes,
That's a
yes.
whole other aspect of what you do and who you are
Mm-hmm.
as a
Yeah.
photographer, as much as you are an author.
Mm-hmm.
It's ways to reach people and make them think. You're a storyteller, as I said earlier, through visual and through written. You're a storyteller.
Well, I learned that. Okay, that's an aha moment for me, because
Yes.
I learned that in the seminars that I started doing with called Today's Saleswoman, when I realized that women kept asking me, "How did you do that? How did you win that award?" And so I created a plan, and I created a seminar to show them, and then it worked well. And I said, This is not a good idea. It's 4 weeks." So I created a 1 day seminar, and the friend in Chicago said, I'll send it to somebody I know here." And so I got an offer to come and do it in Chicago, before the Chicago Commerce and Industry. I'd never done the program before, but I got there, and there were 65 women called Today's Saleswoman and one man. And I went up to him beforehand and said, "Why are you here?" He said, "Well, I've never seen a program about women in sales." I wanted to say, "Neither have I," but I didn't. And so he said, "I'm from Dartnell Institute of Management, and I just wanted to see what goes on." And so he said, "I'll probably leave at lunchtime." Well, he did not. He stayed the whole day. And then the next day, they called me from Dartnell Institute of Management and said, "Will you do this for us?" And so we'd like to send it, your Today's Saleswoman program. We'd like to have it done 4 times a year. I mean, 6 times a year, 4 to 3 years, on and on and on. They sent me all over the country to do this one program. And I was learning so much about the teaching process.
Yeah.
And what I learned was the storytelling. So I could tell them a boring fact about what you need to do, but then I would tell them a story. They remember the stories.
Yes. Yes. People remember things that make them feel too.
Mm-hmm.
If you reach them at levels where they feel something,
Mm-hmm.
that sticks with people as well, right?
Yeah, oh, yes, that's a great example. A great example. Help people to feel. That's a beautiful example. Yeah.
The cover of the book. Tell us about the incubation of the idea for this cover of the book. The shadowing, the ocean scene, kind of like what we were saying earlier. That's a Zen go-to place for me. The ocean. It's the rhythm, the tide. Sun rises from it, sun sets in it. It's got a certain power and authority to it, but yet it also breathes life, and it's always there. And then you have these ominous sort of mountaintops
Mm-hmm.
off in the misty distance, the fog in the back there, and sort of that color that you've selected as well. Tell us about the cover and what it represents and what you hope people get from just even seeing this cover.
It's a picture of my journey to China, which was extraordinary experience, and I had wanted to go for a long time to find out where is it that James Cameron went to be inspired to do Avatar. And I finally found a small company that would do that. And so that was the tour I went on. There were 3 of us. And so it was a extraordinary way to see China. And this was one of the places on the Li River in Guilin. And it just transpired that that scene was just all about feeling and the preciousness of the situation was just over the top, over the top. And so when I after I did my PDF book and sent it out to people, I knew that I needed help in finishing it, making it a beautiful book. So I hired a graphic art person and an editor to help me take it from what I thought it was and to make it more a beautiful story, a beautiful book. And the graphic artist said, Beverly, I've looked at your photographs. We're not going to have me design anything. We're going to use your photographs. And so the book is filled with about 20 color photographs that I have taken. And the front cover is one of those that she selected to say, this is the story about how you might see your vision, see yourself in the future, your desire to do something you've never done before.
Yes, right. And there's no time like the present for all of that, right? There's no time like the present.
There's no time like the present.
Yeah. And, like I mentioned, these blessings and joys in your life that propel you forward. This book is just one of those many things. And I wish you congratulations on this. What would be one or two things that you really hope people are left with when they read It's Your Life, isn't it? Because, we have so many people telling us how to live our life and what we're supposed to be saying and doing and eating and drinking and thinking, but it's your life, isn't it?
It's your life, isn't it? I guess there's one thing I would ask of you. If you have time and you go through the book, which you obviously have done a lot of already, I would love to know what you took away, what you took away from the book. What did it make you think or do differently that you never thought you would do? And so I would ask that of you.
Yeah.
And some of the people that have written me have said, who maybe, I say it's not age related, and say,
right.
So people in their 60s and 70s and 80s, one of them said, I relooked at what I was doing and I just couldn't believe it. How you changed my thought process, and I'm reorganizing some of my priorities right now. I mean, something that simple. A young Japanese woman who changed her life. Hold on one second.
Is that your cell phone that's on fire?
Yeah, but I'm
wow.
Not take it right now.
You got cell phones, dings, and all kinds of sounds. People must be watching the show and they're like, Beverly, good job, Beverly. Good job, Beverly.
Oh, it's 10 of 6. My gosh. That was my sweetheart wondering, where am I?
Is your stomach rumbling?
No, my stomach is happy right now. Anyway, so one gal from Japan sent me a letter. This is when it was the Japanese version. And she said, you changed my life.
Yeah.
Everything I'm doing now is based on the things that you taught me.
Right.
And so I've been contacting with her every year and finding out how she's progressing. And she continued to say, I keep that book with me all the time to remind me when I forgot where I'm going and how I'm going to get there. So I want somebody to really think about how I was able to help them to think about their own life in a different way.
In a different way.
Yeah.
Well, there was somebody that was listening along the way here who's sort of my sidekick, who usually appears towards the latter part. And it's hard to believe we've chatted for almost 2 hours. It went by in a New York minute.
Wow.
And everybody always says it never feels like that because we do it so conversationally and freestyle. It's not, we're not against a clock in particular. Mr. George Burns was joining us today, and he absolutely loved it. And talk about living fully and till any age, like 100. He said you knocked it out of the park, kiddo, and he thoroughly enjoyed this episode of the Jim Master Show Live. And and everything that you had to say. And of course, remember, he played God too. So,
Yes, yes,
so
yes, yes.
he's there and he puts smiles on people's face when all of a sudden George appears.
Yeah,
Didn't
I
quite
love
expect that, did you?
you. You have been wonderful, and I
Oh,
am
it's a
grateful.
pleasure.
I am grateful.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. Why do you love doing this work? What is it bringing for you as you're, encouraging and empowering others?
Um, I think one of my sons made me realize that if I didn't do this with what I'm doing now with this book, it would be easy. I don't need to. I don't need to, but I think I would regret it. I would always wonder what I could have done, and I didn't want to ever have that regret.
Beautifully said. Yes, that's a beautiful way to wrap. I want to let folks know that if they joined us late or would like to see this again, or maybe share this episode with family and friends and those you think who will enjoy this episode of the Jim Master Show Live. Again, this is sort of the lifestyle side of our entertainment lifestyle variety talk show series, where we do it sort of Dick Cavett style, Johnny Carson style, with that old school quality with a modern vibe of today. You can see this entire episode and 530 more. That's a lot of lovely. That's a lot of talking, Beverly,
Yeah,
and a
yeah,
lot of connection.
yeah.
Right here on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. And we hope you would subscribe to the channel, everybody, and click the notification bell so you never miss any of our episodes. And give this episode a thumbs up, and also leave a comment for us on our YouTube channel. Beverly, this was a true delight. You are a very intuitive person, but very inspiring, very empowering. And like I said, I think we're kindred spirits in the way we come at life in such a deep way. And yet we are storytellers, and we want to reach people and we want to communicate with people in ways that maybe go beyond the normal way of doing it. And I think it's a beautiful thing. And you've done it for years and you continue to do it. And I wish you continued blessing and joy in your life. And let's stay connected. I'd love to have you back. We'll keep the porch light on for you as well, Beverly, as I always say.
Mhm.
I tell people we'll keep the porch light on for them, and we will also um, you know, think about the things that you said today that resonate with us and we can relate to and connect with, and apply them to our own lives, because there's no time like the present to do it. So, and like I said, we don't need major global events to have that happen. We can just put that one foot in front of the other right now. So this was a real treat, Beverly. I certainly hope the show met whatever expectations you had, and that you enjoyed the time with me as much as I have with you.
This is a virtual hug.
Yes, we do that often on this show.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Ah,
You're wonderful, and I look forward to being of any help I can with you.
my pleasure. My pleasure. Some of our lovely viewers, Mary Bishop in Florida says, "Nice meeting you, Beverly. Looks like a must-read book." Juanita, watching in South Africa, says, "Thank you for spending time with us, Beverly. I'll watch in the archives. Your book sounds lovely." I love that. Kathleen Walker says she loves writing letters, and she had a pen pal as a kid too. I had a pen pal as well. My pen pal she was in France. And I got the idea of doing the pen pal when I used to watch this show on PBS called Big Blue Marble. It was this kids show, and they always talked about having a pen pal and the importance of having a
Mhm,
pen
mhm,
pal.
mhm.
And it was fantastic. Alan Friedman watching. Alan says, "Bev, I've enjoyed being here with you. As always, great job, Jim.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks for
Mhm.
taking such great care of my friend Beverly. Blessings." Thanks for those wonderful words, Alan. We appreciate that. And Anais is here watching from France. She says, "Beverly, I absolutely love your state of mind. You deliver so much positivity through your words and spirit." Kathleen Walker in New York City, "Thank you for being here, Beverly. I have enjoyed listening." And that's just a few of the folks who have been commenting throughout. Merlin here as well. It's been wonderful meeting you, Beverly. And just really, really fantastic words from everybody. So,
Thank you.
And Christine Clifton is here. She says, this has been a beautiful conversation, a deep episode. Thanks for sharing so many stories with us today. Congrats on your book. Definitely looks like a must read, enjoyable time all together in what we call Lovety Hall. You're now a Jim Masters show. Lovety, Beverly. Pretty cool, huh? Your feet tingling?
Yeah, thank you.
You be well. Go stretch those legs, as I tell all the guests. Get that circulation going. And
Thank
this was
you.
a beautiful conversation, and much joy and success and continued happiness for you and yours.
Thank you. I wish the same for you.
Thank you. We'll chat again soon, okay? Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Beverly Copen here on the Jim Masters Show Live. We want to show you that book once again. It is a page turner. It is something that I think you'll want to add to your repertoire. We appreciate Beverly joining us. She's not only a brilliant photographer, but also a brilliant author. 5 books thus far. It's your life, isn't it? Beverly Copen, our very special guest. There's a close-up of the book. And there's a nice shot of Beverly that we enjoy as well. She was really, really fantastic. Hope you learned something. Hope you had a good time. Again, this is, we do entertainment, we do lifestyle, we do variety, we do talk. This was one of our lifestyle episodes of the Jim Masters Show Live, entertainment lifestyle talk show series. And we love sprinkling these into the mix as well. Because like I said, our show is something for everybody. We're not the same old, same old. This is like an entertainment lifestyle talk variety show where we just spice it up and we mix it up all the time. Speaking of which, I want to let you know that we have 2 shows tomorrow. It's Double Lovety at 2 p.m. Eastern time, which will be 6 p.m. because they pushed the clocks backwards in Ireland this past Sunday. So it's actually 6 p.m. in the UK and Ireland tomorrow, which will be 2 p.m. here Eastern, which will be 11 a.m. tomorrow. Colm Keegan is with us. Singer-songwriter Celtic Thunder's Colm Keegan makes his return visit to the Jim Masters Show Live. He's all excited. He and I have been chatting for weeks about this. We wanted to pick the date, and we were going to do the 16th, but we figured, hey, let's do it sooner because there's a lot of cool things going on. So it's going to be terrific. That's tomorrow for those of you who are watching live. If you're watching this months from now, then you can just scroll back in our archives of episodes and you can see it there. He was on our show before about a year ago, and this is a return visit tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. in Ireland, Scotland, England, GMT time, because again, we haven't turned our clocks back yet here in the United States. I believe this weekend we're doing that. It's usually the first Sunday, I think, of November we're doing it. The clocks go back an hour. We haven't done it yet, but in Ireland, they have. So it's 6 p.m. for those that may be watching overseas now. And then tomorrow night, we have brilliant actress and singer Joy Lynn Jacobs. She's going to do a lot of cool things for us. She's been on television and stage and movies, and she's amazing, and she's all excited. She's with us tomorrow. We're very excited. That's at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. So 2 shows tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. Colm Keegan returns from Celtic Thunder. He may even play live for us as well. And then tomorrow night, award-winning actress, singer, television, film, stage actress, and singer. She even was a backup singer with the Carpenters. Yes, and so much more. Joy Lynn Jacobs is with us tomorrow. So that's a double Lovety day here on the Jim Masters Show Live. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Like the YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. Well, actually, subscribe to it. Subscribe to it. There's no cost. That's right. There's no cost. And give it a like. This episode, if you enjoyed this episode, give it a like and leave a comment for us as well. And when you do subscribe to the YouTube channel, there's no cost for that. Make sure you click that little notification bell icon so you never miss any of the incredible episodes we have. So, good stuff. It's nice to see everybody here. Thanks for all these great comments, gang. Thank you, Jim. We'll have to do archives. That's why the archives are there. You enjoy it. And it's good to see you, Sherry. And Jane as well. Love your color tonight, Jim. In Sweden, we have the clock back between Saturday and Sunday. So you turned yours back as well. Good. We do it, I think, this weekend. Yes, November 7th. And Juanita in South Africa, they don't do the clock thing. Christine has a long dental appointment tomorrow. So she'll catch archives with Column and then she'll watch the other show live. Hope everything turns out well for you. Kathleen Walker says, have a great night. See you tomorrow. Good night, all hugs. And as I said at the top of the show, I heard that Doomsday Dude Perfect and Halo did a bang up job with the Halloween episode on Saturday night, the night before Halloween. We were up in the Berkshire Mountains yesterday. It was really beautiful in Lee and Lenox, Massachusetts, Western Massachusetts, West Stockbridge. We were doing a lot of sightseeing. Weekend before, we were in Shelburne Falls, Massachusetts at the Bridge of Flowers. We're going to be heading to Newport, Rhode Island as well. We're posting some photos and all that on our Facebook pages, Instagram and Twitter at Jim Masters TV. But again, good stuff here, gang. And we love you all. And thanks so much for being with us. Again, thumbs up to Doomsday Dude Perfect and Halo. Again, you guys, I guess you had a good time with them. So maybe we will have them back. I'll have to check their schedule. I'll have to see if they're available. I'm still watching the rest of the episode and I was laughing too. You never knew what they were going to do, but they handled it well. Neither one of them ever did anything like this. You have to watch the Halloween episode in the archives to know what I'm actually talking about. If you're watching this, like, what is he talking about? Watch the Halloween episode of the Jim Masters Show live. That was just a couple nights ago on Halloween Eve, and you'll see what we're talking about. It was quite interesting, and it was a hoot. Halo was very mysterious, and Juanita says the Halloween show was a hoot. Jane in Sweden, I absolutely love the Halloween show. Well, I'll have to tell Doomsday Dude Perfect and Halo how much you guys enjoyed it. So far, what I've seen, it was really fantastic. Cool stuff. All right, gang, we're going to wrap because we got to eat dinner and we have a busy night tonight. And then we've got 2 shows tomorrow for you. And then I'm on the air in the daytime too, before those 2 shows. So we've got a lot of busyness going on here around these parts. Wherever you are watching around the world, thanks for being with us on this episode of JMS Live, the Jim Masters Show Live. Continue to spread the word, spread the word around the world. That's what we're trying to say. Too much talking today. Spread the word around the world. And we thank you for that. Good stuff. Good stuff. Yes, they opened my birthday gifts, and those were cool gifts. That was really, thank you for those again, Kathleen. When I came home, supposedly, when I came home on Halloween Eve after the big party, I saw the gifts and the letters and the notes, and it was very beautiful. Thank you very much. I appreciate Doomsday, Dude Perfect, taking care of things along with Halo. They did such a great job. Christine Clifton says, Jim, thanks for this really wonderful show today with Beverly. My mother enjoyed the show as well. See you all soon. The Halloween show was epic, hanging with 2 fun dudes, still giggling. I guess a lot of people are. Thank you, Jim and lovely friends, for making me spend a good moment every single time. My pleasure. Thank you for being with us there in beautiful France. That's where I had my pen pal when I was a kid. She lived in, was it Montmorency, France? She was wonderful. Patricia was her name, and we wrote back and forth, me here in the United States. Oh, I must have been like 11 years old when I had the pen pal, 11, 12, 13. I still have all the letters. And we chatted since then, years later, and she still has the letters too. Patricia in Montmorency, France, and me here in the United States on the East Coast, of course, at that time out east on Long Island, New York. Thanks, gang. You're the best. Wherever you're watching around the world, thanks for joining us here. You can find me everywhere on Facebook and Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, all at Jim Masters TV. And again, our YouTube channel is Jim Masters TV as well. If you missed any of our episodes, boy, we've had some amazing guests. Judy Tenuta, the incredible comedian, she's with us this Friday. and we're going to be celebrating her birthday. Her birthday's coming up this weekend, so she asked to come on our show, and we're very excited about that. And so she's going to be coming on our show, and that's going to be really, really cool. This Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. That is November 5th. She'll be here. Again, for those watching live, if you have already, if you're watching this in the archives, then that's old news, but just scroll through the archives and you can see that episode. Great to see everybody. It's always great when we get together here on our fun show, the Gym Masters Show Live. Thanks for being here. Thanks for all the levity, all the comments. Leave a comment on our YouTube channel. Give it a thumbs up, and we would love that. From all of us here, you guys be well. Take care. Go have some dinner if it's still dinner time. Go to bed if it's nighttime, or enjoy breakfast if it's the morning, or lunch if it's the afternoon. We'll see you again on the next episode. 2 shows tomorrow, again at the time of this show, 2 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Eastern. And those of you who are not watching this episode right now while we're live, stay right there. Another episode of the Gym Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series comes up for you next. See you soon, gang. We love you all. Take care. Be well. Thanks for being with us. You're the best. Cheers.